Alright, today's video we're picking up a $250 car that I found on Craigslist. I think this is it right here. It's a 2000 Ford Focus, and yeah, mechanic special they say, so we'll see what's wrong with it. So this car is part of an estate sale and it has clean title, so not bad for 250 bucks. Looks like we've got a flat tire. Still waiting for the guy to show up, but should be all right with the flat tire. I've got a car dolly, so it looks like the rear's good. So yeah, no rust or anything. Jeez, this thing's in pretty good shape. A little bit of rust on the bottom there. Let's look over here. Yeah, they have no idea what's wrong with it. They just tried starting it, hooking up a battery, and it didn't start, so could be minor, but also could be totally messed up. So we'll get it on the trailer and look at it further. Let's go ahead and pop the hood real quick. See if there's oil on the dipstick at least. There we go. All right, no battery. There's my, there we go. We've got good oil, so that is a good sign so far. Looks like everything's here. Man, look at all the cobwebs. This thing has been sitting for a minute. Well, the owner showed up. I paid him his 250 bucks, and he even helped me get it on the trailer. We just used a come along, but the air leaked out of the front tires already, so we'll need new tires. The rear is holding, so that's good. Yeah, let's check this thing out. Basically, he gave me a little backstory. Said it's been sitting for, I don't know, about 3 or 4 years, and just stopped starting for them one day. So they parked it. They have no idea, didn't look into it at all. So let's get this thing back to the house and see if we can fix it. Alright, it's the next morning here, and the car sitting in the shop overnight, so it is nice and dry. We had to change out to the spare tire though. Luckily it was in good condition in the trunk. Front tire just wouldn't hold air, and we couldn't get it off the trailer, so we did that, rolled it in, and now we're just going to hook up power and start diagnosing this thing. Alright, and the previous owner did give me the battery. It is junk, but at least we'll have a core exchange when buying a new one. Alright, let's go turn the key, see what happens. We already checked oil, so we know there's oil in it. So if we have power, I'm going to see if this thing will turn over at least. And let's close the door here. We've got lights. 224,000 miles, pretty high, but pretty common. Ooh. Sounds like it wants to start. Huh, we might just have a fuel issue. Let's start with spark, and then we'll go from there. Okay, let's hook up our little spark tester here. Okay, I will not be able to see from here, so you guys tell me if we're getting spark or not. Okay, I do believe we passed our spark test. Now let's move on to the fuel system. Normally you just hook up a fuel pressure gauge to the fuel rail. There's usually a Schrader valve, but this model does not have one, so we'll check fuel delivery the old-fashioned way. Alright, we're just going to go ahead and take off this air intake right here. And we're basically just going to squirt a little bit of gas right into the throttle body. And if it fires up, we know we're just not getting fuel, and if it doesn't fire up, it might be another issue. Okay, so the motor did not pop off or even try and sputter. Nothing. So I think fuel delivery might not be the issue. What I'm going to do next is pull the spark plugs and we'll do a compression test on each cylinder. That is probably an issue. Let's check the other cylinders. That one had nothing. Nothing. And that one's closer to 20. So a loss of compression in one cylinder would mean a bad head gasket, valves not seating properly, or worn out piston rings. But because it's happening to all the cylinders, that's more of a rare issue. I would say we probably have a timing belt that skipped a tooth, or the timing belt just blew entirely. But luckily this is a non-interference engine. And what that means is if the timing goes, the valves cannot come into contact with the piston. On an interference engine, it's the opposite. If your timing goes, your piston will hit your valves, bending them, destroying them, damaging your engine. So this still might be salvageable. We'll take all this out, check the timing, and go from there. So now we have access to our crankshaft pulley, which we can get a ratchet on to turn the motor. And also behind this will be one of the timing marks we'll need to get to. But first, we need to remove the motor mount, covers, belts, all that good stuff. Alright, now that we got these three 15mm bolts out of the way, we'll need to jack up the motor a little bit, and then we can remove these two 18mm. Okay. There we go. One motor mount later, which this thing looks pretty rough. We'll probably have to replace that anyways. Okay. And also, there was supposed to be a 13mm right here as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4. But that one was already missing. So someone's definitely been in here before. Alright, what do you guys think? Broken timing belt? No. Wow, so my guess now is we probably skipped a tooth. It's the only explanation in my mind. Alright, we're going to turn the motor clockwise. Check our timing marks up top. Okay, so this timing mark is lined up with that dot on the case. Now let's look at the bottom. So, look at that. That timing mark is supposed to be in line with that notch right up there. And it is way off, so looks like we did skip some teeth. Let's just have a peek down here, shall we? Look at all that dry coolant everywhere. Yeah, that's probably what happened. Maybe a head gasket leak, causing it to be super wet down here, making that belt skip some teeth. The story is starting to piece together. So the more I'm staring at this, it actually might not be the head gasket, because this is our water pump assembly in here. Maybe we just have a failed water pump seal or something that was leaking behind here. That would be honestly really good news, because water pump is a lot easier to change than head gasket. So we'll probably start with that. Water pump, tensioners, belts, get it all timed. We might be good to go. Alright, let's go ahead and drain the coolant. Okay, now we're going to get the water pump removed. Start with taking off the belt. Come on. There we go. Wow. Dirty. Let's have a look, see if we can find the failure point. So, looking at the clean gasket surface right here, compared to right here, looks like that's where the failure was. Looking at all the rust, looks like it was leaking at this top part, allowing coolant to escape through here and through here. So that's good news. I think our head gasket is still good. So we'll change that out and see if it starts. Okay, we've got the new water pump here with a new gasket. We're going to go ahead and put it in and torque it down to 18 foot-pounds. Okay, now we're going to put in the new tensioner with this flat part facing down and then torque it down to 20 foot-pounds. We've got our lower timing mark lined up and the upper one. And now we're just going to go ahead and put this new belt on. There we go. Okay, now we're going to pull this pin to create the tension. And then we're going to do 2 revolutions of the engine and make sure our timing marks are still in line. Okay, there's the top timing mark and the bottom timing mark. Looks good. We're just going to make sure our keyway is still in here. And then go ahead and reinstall our crank pulley. So the crank pulley, we're going to torque down to 89 foot-pounds. I'm going to try something here with the old belt to see if we can hold all this in place while we get the torque wrench on it. Basically, you can see how the belt, how I have it routed. Alright, that's one side. Now, in theory, if we tuck this up under here, as we tighten this, I'm hoping it holds it in place. Let's see what happens. Oh, that's actually working really good. Alright, let's see if we can get to 89 foot-pounds. There we go. 89 foot-pounds. Looks like our idler pulley needs replaced as well. Listen to this thing. Much better. we go. Let's get the new motor mount installed. Alright, now we're going to set the gap on the spark plugs before we install them. You can usually find your spark plug gap here on the emission sticker. Looks like ours is a 0.052 to 0.056. Alright, let's go ahead and see where these are set at out of the box. 0.055, so we are within range. And now we're going to install the serpentine belt, and then we'll see if this thing fires up. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, let's see if it'll fire up. Got coolant up to the min mark. Let's actually leave this cap off so it'll bleed out any air in the system. And let's see what happens. Look at that. No hesitation at all. Wow. Yep, we've got a runner, that's for sure. Fired right up. Sweet, so I've got the tires off right now. I've got the rims in the back of my truck. I'm gonna go get some new rubber put on. I found some studded tires for 130 bucks. So we're gonna get some fresh tires on this thing and we'll take it on a little test drive. Let's go in the cab, see if there's any check engine lights. The brake light's on, door light, seatbelt light, no check engine lights, that's good. Cool, let's go get some tires. So I tried messing with the e-brake, making sure it's all the way down to get the brake light to come off, but it is still on, and I noticed our brakes are just super squishy, so we have no brakes currently, and we need to go on a test drive, so let's figure out what's going on. Let's go ahead and check the brake fluid, see if we're low. Oh yeah, there's nothing in there. It's bone dry, so let's figure out where it's leaking from. Basically, we're just going to go around and check all the hoses and lines, look for leaks. Also, I'm going to pry the cylinder in, make sure our calipers aren't seized up. Okay. Alright, that one seems to be moving freely. And it's got really thick brake pads on it, so this one must have been done pretty recently. This side looks good, no leaks. That side seems to be free. And this one's got good brake pads as well. So the back driver's side, I'm not seeing any leaks from the hose. And nothing looks like it's leaking out of the drum here. But we still might have to take this off to inspect the brakes. And we'll check out that wheel cylinder while we're back there. So it looks like we're not leaking from the hose or line on this side. But the dark color kind of leads me to believe something was leaking. So the wheel cylinder on this side might be shot. So we're going to go ahead and take the drums off of both sides, take a look at the cylinders and brake shoes, and go from there. Yeah, these brakes have definitely seen their better days. This side is super thin. This side's a little better. But the wheel cylinders, they don't seem to be leaking, but they're super rusty, so... Oh! Yeah, that side's leaking, so... Yep, we've got bad wheel cylinders. We're going to replace both sides, and then the shoes, probably even the drum, bearing, call it a day. And we got the wheel cylinders out. Definitely where our leaks were coming from. This was the passenger side. Really bad. So the driver's side is done, ready to go. And the passenger side is just about there. We just got to get the drum on, bleed the brakes. We'll be ready for a test drive. There we go. So I'm going to use the one-man bleeder method. Basically, I've got it cracked open and I zip tied it so there's no air leak. And I've got this bottle and I drilled a hole for an air vent. Basically, as I pump the brakes, it'll push all the air out, and because the bottom of the hose is submerged in fluid, it will not suck air back into the system. And you want to make sure you stay topped off on the reservoir. So if you run this thing dry, it'll allow air to enter through this side, and you'll have to restart the whole process. So I noticed the ABS sensor on this side, the wires just sheared off, so our brake light is probably still going to be on because of that. But I know they're still going to work just fine, so let's get these tires on and test drive this thing. Sounds pretty good. Alright, we definitely need a new marker bulb on this side. And yep, like I suspected, our brake light is still on because of that ABS sensor. Stops. So far so good. Looks like our illumination isn't very bright, so might be a fuse or some bad bulbs. So our steering feels pretty tight, but it's definitely at a little bit of an angle. work. That's good. Accomplished our goal of getting this thing back on the road, running and driving again. Looks like our temperature is holding up just fine. Let's pop the hood, make sure everything still looks good. Yeah, still sounds good. Looks like we can add a little coolant now that it's circulating through. But overall, you know, we're $800 into this thing. Yes, it still needs some little stuff here and there, but I'll probably post it for 1,500 bucks, see if we can make a little money on it. If not, maybe we'll use it as the next demo derby car and just smash it to a bunch of pieces. So let me know what you guys think, and we'll catch you in the next one.